The town of Eldridge had always felt like it was holding its breath. Long pause. A small gray place pressed against the black wall of Whisperwood Forest, as if the trees themselves were slowly squeezing the life out of it. Extra long pause. The streets were crooked, the houses leaned together like old conspirators, and the street lamps flickered the way candles do when something walks past them in the dark. Medium pause. Everyone knew the rule. When the sun drops behind the tree line, you lock your doors, you draw your curtains, and you never, ever say the name of the house that stands alone at the forest's edge. Long pause. They simply called it the House of Whispers. Extra long pause. My name is Anna Volkov. I am 32 years old, a journalist who chases ghosts for a living. I have slept in abandoned asylums, spent nights in cemeteries, interviewed people who swear they've seen the dead walk. I thought I had seen everything. Breathing, I was wrong. 2 weeks ago, my editor, Harlan, called me at 3 in the morning. His voice was shaking with excitement and something darker. Anna, I've got the story of the decade. Eldridge, 1923. The Whitaker family, father, mother, 3 children, they vanished inside their own house. No bodies, no blood, nothing. Just gone. Short pause. He lowered his voice. And the locals still hear them, at night, whispering. Medium pause. I took the assignment the same minute. I arrived in Eldridge on a Tuesday in late October. The sky was the color of wet ash. Mrs. Hargrove, the owner of the only inn, handed me the key to room 7 with fingers that wouldn't stop trembling. "You're the reporter," she said. It wasn't a question. "Don't go near the Whitaker house, child. Some doors, once opened, don't close again." I smiled the way I always do when people warn me. I should have listened. That first night I couldn't sleep. The window of room 7 looked straight toward the forest, and far away, half swallowed by the trees, I could see it. A tall, narrow silhouette with broken windows, like empty eye sockets. Long pause. At 3:03 a.m. I woke up gasping. Someone had whispered my name directly into my ear. Hot, moist breath against my skin. I sat up. The room was empty, door still locked, chain still on. Breathing. My notebook lay open on the nightstand. A single sentence in handwriting that looked exactly like mine. "Don't leave us alone again." I never wrote it. The next morning I started asking questions. Old Mr. Elias at the diner told me the official version. Elias Whitaker had been a scientist. Some said a genius. Others said a madman. He believed death was just a failure of connection, that souls could be bound together, fused into one eternal being. He built machines. He drew circles. He spoke languages that hurt to hear. One night in November 1923, neighbors heard music from the house. Piano notes that went on for hours, then sudden silence. When the sheriff finally broke in 3 days later, the Whitakers were gone. The piano lid was closed. On the keys, 5 perfect handprints in fresh blood. The blood was still warm. Extra long pause. Sarah, the girl from the general store, told me the unofficial version. Her grandmother had been friends with Clara Whitaker. Clara had started sleeping with the lights on. She said the children weren't acting right anymore. That sometimes she'd find little Emily standing in the hallway at night, staring at the wall, whispering to someone who wasn't there. That baby Grace had begun to laugh in a voice that sounded like an old woman choking. And Elias, he smiled more and more, but the smile never reached his eyes. Short pause. "They weren't taken," Sarah whispered. "They were collected." Long pause. I spent the day in the little town library, going through microfilm until my eyes burned. I found Elias Whitaker's last public lecture, printed in the Eldridge Gazette, October 1923. He spoke of the great merging, of how individuality was the true curse of mankind, how loneliness could be cured forever. The final line of the article was cut off mid-sentence, as if the typesetter had suddenly refused to finish it. Extra long pause. That evening I stood at the edge of Whisperwood Forest. The path to the house was overgrown, but still visible, like a scar. I told myself I was only going to take photographs from the outside. I lied. The forest swallowed the daylight the moment I stepped beneath the trees. The air grew thick, syrupy. Every footstep I took sounded twice, mine, and then another set, half a second later. Always half a second later. Breathing, I stopped. The echo stopped. I took one more step. The echo took one more, but softer, closer, whispering Anna. I spun around. Nothing. Only trees and darkness, pooling between them like spilled ink. Long pause. The house appeared without warning. 3 stories of sagging, Gothic decay. Paint the color of dried blood. Windows shattered into jagged smiles. The front door stood open exactly 6 inches, just wide enough for a child to slip through, or for something to look out. Extra long pause. I crossed the threshold. The temperature dropped 20 degrees in a single heartbeat. My breath came out in white clouds. The smell hit me next. Wet earth, candle smoke, and underneath it something sweet and metallic that made my stomach turn. The foyer was huge and hollow. A grand staircase swept upward into darkness. On the walls, portraits of the Whitaker family, but the eyes had been scratched out of every single one. Long pause. I turned on my recorder. This is Anna Volkov, November 2nd, inside the Whitaker residence, locally known as the House of Whispers. Time, 4:47 p.m. My voice sounded small and wrong, like it belonged to someone else. Short pause. Floorboards groaned beneath me, not from my weight, from something moving on the floor above. Slow, deliberate footsteps. Drag, step, drag, step. Like someone with a broken leg trying to dance. Extra long pause. I moved into the parlor. Furniture shrouded in dusty sheets. I pulled one sheet away. An armchair soaked through with a dark stain that had dried black. I touched it. Still damp. Impossible. Breathing on the mantelpiece, 5 photographs in silver frames. Elias Whitaker, stern. Clara, beautiful and terrified. Emily, maybe 8, curls framing a porcelain face. Thomas, 6, clutching a wooden soldier. And baby Grace in a christening gown. Their eyes followed me as I moved. I swear they did. Long pause. I climbed the stairs. Each step cried out like it was in pain. Halfway up, I stopped. A child's handprint on the banister. Small fingers. Fresh. The paint beneath it was still wet. I looked at my own hand. My fingers matched perfectly. Extra long pause. The master bedroom. The bed was made with military precision. On the pillow, a single long dark hair. Clara's maybe, or mine. I opened the wardrobe. Dresses from the 1920s hung in perfect rows. At the very back, a child's dress, white lace, stained with tiny handprints of red. Breathing. Behind me, the door to the room closed by itself. Soft click. I turned. On the inside of the door, written in what looked like lipstick, "Play with us, Anna." The letters dripped slowly downward, as if freshly painted. Extra long pause. I ran. Down the hall. Doors slammed open as I passed. Children's laughter spilled out like floodwater. I reached the nursery. A rocking horse swayed gently, thus there was no wind. On the wall, crayon drawings. Stick figures holding hands in a circle. 5 adults, 3 children, and 1 new figure, taller with long hair. The name beneath it, Anna. Horrified breathing, I fled downstairs into the kitchen. The table was set for dinner. 8 places, 8 plates, 8 glasses filled with dark liquid that moved when I wasn't looking. A high chair at the end. In it, a porcelain doll with glass eyes. The eyes were real. They blinked. Extra long pause. The basement door was in the pantry. I had no choice. The whispers were everywhere now, inside my skull, under my skin, whispering, "Join us, join us, join us." The stairs down were narrow and steep, each step slick with something I didn't want to name. At the bottom, a single bulb swung from a wire, casting swaying shadows. In the center of the room, the altar, black stone, carved with symbols that hurt to look at directly. Around it, perfect circles of bones. Adult bones, child bones, and in the very center, a child's shoe. My size. Extra long pause. On the altar lay the journal. Leather cover, soft with age. I opened it with shaking hands. Elias Whitaker's handwriting, neat at first, then frantic, then not handwriting at all, just scratches. The last readable page. We thought we were binding them to us. We were wrong. It bound us to it. There is no Elias. There is no Clara. There are no children. There is only the house, and the house is hungry. If someone reads this, run. It already knows your name. It is already wearing your face. Extra long pause. The light bulb exploded. Darkness swallowed everything. And then the darkness began to breathe. Breathing all around me. Hands. Small hands. Cold hands. Thousands of them. Touching my arms, my face, my throat, whispering, "Welcome home, Anna." I screamed. I ran blindly upward. The stairs stretched, multiplied, became endless. I fell. Something caught me. Not saved. Caught. Extra long pause. I woke up in my room at the Eldridge Inn. Sunlight through the curtains, birds singing. My clothes were clean, my skin unmarked. On the nightstand, my recorder. I pressed play, my own voice, calm and happy. Day 3 in Eldridge. Nothing unusual to report. Locals are superstitious, but the house is just an old building. Heading back today to finish photographs. The recording ended. Then a new voice, soft, layered, many voices speaking as one, whispering, "Thank you for coming home, Anna. We were so lonely." Extra long pause. I looked in the mirror. My eyes were black, not dark brown, black, no whites, no pupils, just empty. And I was smiling, a smile that didn't feel like mine. Breathing, I understood then. They didn't vanish in 1923. They multiplied. The house doesn't trap souls. It wears them, and now it wears me. Extra long pause. I still walk the streets of Eldridge. I still write articles. People say I look younger, happier. They ask how the story turned out. I always give the same answer, in the same soft voice. It had a happy ending. Everyone got to stay together, forever. Medium pause. At night I return to the edge of the forest. The path is clear now, well-trodden. More people have been visiting lately. They hear their names called. They always come, whispering, because the house is still hungry, and I help it feed. Extra long pause. If you're listening to this recording, medium pause, close the app, delete the file, burn your phone if you have to, because somewhere right now, I am standing outside your window, or sitting in the dark beside your bed, or breathing against the back of your neck. Breathing, and I am whispering your name. Extra long pause, soft, layered, Hungry. We've been waiting for you. Extra long pause. Come home.